Hi. Well, I know that certain fans have done bloopers for stories they've read out. Rachel and Annie both have, I know, because I've heard them. So, here for you now. Yes, I will share the bloopers of Apokalypsis. So this is my last fic. Yeah, you can hear the bloopers and have a laugh. And I will give a major spoiler alert though, because you really do need to have read or heard the audiobook before you hear these outtakes of mine. Okay, so here's the Apokalypsis bloopers. Enjoy. Chapter 1, Escape from Reality. So there had been a price on his head after all along. Shit, am I changing that? So there had been a price on his head all along. He wanted to scream in the hope that anyone would hear his flight and... Do that again. He wanted to scream. Chapter 2, A Turn of Events. Becoming aware that both his wrists and ankles were bolted to the object, piercing through flesh and bone, in the blink of an eye, he was witnessing another of these appendages with a small saw attached. At first glance, he could see the ECG reading was going off the charts. He felt like a winged... No, he didn't. He remembered results from a recent thorough examination which had miraculously revealed he was in fact driving in the fast lane on the road to recovery with no trace of any neural... He remembered results from a recent... Something she desperately wanted, even though her womb had been made barren since her own abduction in the past, so that had been a damn miracle in itself. But I'm doing that again. Something she desperately wanted, even though her womb had... Oh, fucking hell. Alright, I'm doing that again. Something she desperately wanted. They'd ended up at the Federal Statistics Centre in Virginia, where he'd believed the man had set him up while he was attempting to where am I? Where's the bit about setting him up? I've just lost the bloody bit. Hang on a minute. I'll go from here. Even though Doggett had been... No, I'm not there yet. Hang on a minute. Where am I? Even though Doggett had given him the code through Scully so he could access the database, which he'd understood would reveal all the names of the people chosen to be replaced by alien facsimiles, because they'd... I knew I wouldn't say that all in one go. The people chosen to be replaced by alien facsimiles is fucking hell. Chosen to be replaced by alien facsimiles because they had a certain every national newspaper in the country with the files attached. Sorry. Saved by the Bell, he said still. No, shit, not like that. Hello? Mulder, it's me. Hearing her do that again. Chapter 3, Making Decisions. Basically, this involved folks deciding that bugs was just another type of nutrition. Dana threw together a couple of sandwiches from the remaining... God, I'm not doing well here, am I? Right. She remembered him trying in vain to convince her to speak about her own abduction in the past, She remembered him and she could see tears starting to well up and took a hold... I'm afraid to talk about it, Scully, he murmured softly. She could see tears starting to well up and took a hold of his hand. I understand, Mulder. I don't know. Fucking hell. Before he could utter any kind of a reply, in his defence, she had... Oh, no, no. Sorry. Let's do that again. Whatever, whoever, she said impatiently. You must have known they would send so... Noticing a look of incredulity in those hazel eyes, he spoke deliberately but softly. No, he didn't, God. And yes, keeping such painful secrets buried deep in his mind would most likely lead to his return to Crazy Town, or worse. Let's face it, he wouldn't have given a shit if those soldiers had shot him in that for the... But Mulder, she started to say. Let me finish, he told her. She could hear determination in his... She could hear the determinate... Yeah, anyway. No, hang on. It was right the first time. Hang on a minute. It's not a very pleasant story, he stammered. Oh, he stammered. Hang on a minute. Chapter 4. Revealing the nightmare. She really didn't want to hear... But she knew she had to be strong for him, and therefore would force herself... I've just realised I say sadistic twice. Okay, Mulder replied, voice trembling. Oh, hang on. Okay, Mulder replied, voice trembling. Oh, do that again. Okay, Mulder... Scully frowned. Why would she do that? Mulder wasn't listening and continued with what he was trying to say. Billy Miles was there as well, and he did the same thing. Like they were trying to comfort me. Yes, he suddenly felt no he hadn't. I remember him, Scully says solemnly. I'm going to do that again because I've rewritten this bit. He had been the alien clone who had gone against the project. No, shit. He had been the alien clone who had gone against the... It's a question mark. Before she could react, he carried on, eyes widening in awe. We have such sights to show you. He realised he'd taken on a rather sadistic tone while he mimicked Pinhead's line from the 80s horror movie. Hang on. He realised he'd taken on a rather sadistic tone while he mimicked... Actually, yes, I did see it, but it was a long time ago, Scully replied, a little unnerved that he'd reverted to his... Oh, hang on. No. Guess Stephen King was your cup of tea. Actually, yes, I did see it, but it was a long time ago, Scully replied, a little Chapter 5, Illuminating Facts. She felt a knot in the pit of her stomach. Oh, Jesus! Mulder was still reminiscing on the incident, whilst at the same time trying to distance himself from knowing it had been him experiencing this sickening... Oh, God, Scully thought, as the cruel hard facts now became glaringly evident. Oh, sorry, she does say it in an exclamation, right? Oh, God! We haven't even gotten to the... We haven't even gotten to the pièce de resistance. Oh, it's PS. Will you say it right? We haven't even gotten to the pièce de... Oh, PS! We haven't even gotten to the pièce... PS! God, why can't I say it right? We haven't even gotten to the pièce de resistance yet, he claimed gently. Oh, no, I would say that, wouldn't I? We haven't even gotten to the pièce de... PS. I can't say it, can I? We haven't even gotten to the pièce de resistance yet, he claimed gently. He claimed, gently withdrawing from her tender touch. His words came out in ragged gasps. Mulder knew he was probably going to hyperventilate if he didn't stop this behaviour. Her mind reverted back to when she had insisted on performing the inspection of his body. Her mind reverted back to when she had insisted on performing the inspection of his body against all sound judgment. It had been a painful decision to make, and the prospect that she might even have had to perform and the prospect that she might have even had to perform an autopsy on him. Oh, can I say it? But I never found any puncture wounds suggesting an injection of any kind, she stated. You wouldn't have, he replied, sniffing back a sob. He replied, sniffing back. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have detected the results of the damage it caused because... A brief hesitation, followed by another sniff. You would have had no reason to examine... You would have had no reason to examine... examine. You would have no... A brief hesitation, followed by another sniff. You would have had no reason to examine that particular... You would have had... A brief hesitation, followed by another sniff. You would have had no reason to examine that particular... Oh, can I say it right? Before Scully could even take in what he'd just said, he continued explaining, trying hard not to register the words that were now pouring out. Oh, try again. Like fucking Malcolm McDowell! Only I wasn't being forced to watch depravity. Chapter 6, Burying the Truth. And she'd been extremely reluctant to pronounce him DOA, even though her fibre and she'd been extremely reluctant to pronounce him DOA, even though she just couldn't accept the fact Mulder was gone. His voice brought her back to the present. And he lost the page. Hang on. What followed after his ordeal on the ship just made absolutely no sense at all. OK, he'd been used to paranormal theories defying rational explanation, and it's become a way of life. You were there, leaning over me, Mulder said, the confusion registered. Skinner's actions had in fact prevented this, and even though Mulder's temperature had dropped rapidly, it hadn't affected his vital signs. Then after stabilising him and administering a course of antivirals, she virtually was. I missed out was. She was virtually able to save his life. She virtually was able. Oh, right. Taking him into her arms carefully, so as not to crush her swollen belly, she stroked his hair tenderly. Mulder, I can't believe how I managed to heal you. After everything she'd witnessed with those preternatural forces at work, preternatural, right? Memories flooded back like a tidal wave, drowning all sound reasoning in its wake. Oh yes, I knew when they took me back to Washington. That's the sentence. Typical Edgar Allan Poe story, eh? He announced. The fall of the House of Usher. Sorry. He's saying that, not questioning it. Alright. Taking a hand in his, 'tis glistening. It's still glistening, actually. Hang on. Taking a hand in his, 'tis still glistening in his eyes, he whispered, I sure missed you, Scully. I missed you too. She recollected the confusion. He resigned himself to deep emotions that had been trying to surface. Now they were uncontrollable, flowing out of him like a raging river bursting its blank Stroking his hair gently, Scully lowered her hand so that it was resting on her protruding stomach. Of course, let's not forget the little matter that she was going to be giving birth. The sun was just starting to rise, and already you could tell it was going to be another hot and humid day in the state of Virginia. Well, it was late July when the oh, God, what is up with me? I can't read. I can't read. I've lost the ability to read. The sun was just starting to rise. Well, it was late July when the climate could easily reach tucked away in the middle of a field of parched grassland, and this rural place at Farr's Corner, 227700 Wallace Road, had been bought by yeah, I didn't know the address of Mulder's house. I had to look it up. After he and his partner Dana Scully had gone on the run after his narrow escape from the had been bought by the then God, can I say it? Certain government officials, some of whom were alien replacements, had set a trap at the Mount Weather military facility in He had been set up by certain government officials, some of whom were alien replacements. I can't speak. Their aim was to be rid of the paranormal investigation. God, I can't. Okay. This, unfortunately, had resulted in him sleeping. This, unfortunately, had resulted in him slipping into a deep depression. Then along came something he couldn't have predicted in a million years, neither could many of the fans. So once again he'd found himself back in the FBI, investigating paranormal... Can't say it. So, determined to prove his own theories right, he went back to the FBI... After he learned his own father, who he despised, Carl Gerhard... How do you pronounce his name? After he learned his own father, who he despised, Carl Gerhard Bush, God, that would essentially wipe out. Sorry, God, that revelation had absolutely devastated him. As deep in his heart, he believed he was the boy's father. So, sorry, that. What have I written here? Hang on a minute. That should be Mulder, not him, because that's Mulder, not him. After William decided he didn't want to... After William decided he did... The sound of birdsong outside the attic bedroom window awoke for... Yeah, where was I? Hang on a minute. Only to discover the one woman who'd lived through the nightmares with him for many years, who back in 1993... That doesn't... Where am I? Hang on a minute. Let me get a gist of where the hell I was in this story of mine. Not only that, went on to become his closest ally. That doesn't... God, this doesn't... Hang on. It's all beautiful and perfect now. Perfect, happy, romantic life. Even with a sex scene, which is not my style of writing. It's not my style of writing, and this was difficult to do, but I've done it. I thought, sod it, I'll give him that. I'll give him that then, right, here we go. So, okay, this gets hot. He gazed at her naked, sleeping... Sorry. Oh, bloody, I like to do this for the bloody Mulder Scully romance fans, right? They had miraculously been Sorry. Right, try again. They had miraculously been blessed. I can't... Okay, come on. Right. Yes, it had defied all rational belief and never been explained in any shape or form. But what the hell? He Right, okay. This is seriously going to need some editing. Right, hang on. But what the hell? He now had a beautiful oh, for fuck's sake, sorry. Right. But what the hell? He now... That doesn't doesn't sound... I've got to say this right for the bloody podcast. Right, I'll get this right one day. Right. So, during her pregnancy, Scully moved back into his home and... So, during her pregnancy, Scully moved back into his home, a decision they'd both come to in the end. It's only been... Oh, that doesn't sound right. It's me reading it wrong, my own story. During her 9 months of pregnancy, because Mulder wasn't pregnant. Right, okay. No, that would be too weird. That really would be an X-file. Right, okay. I am, yes, ruthlessly editing this story of mine. Right. During her 9 months of pregnancy, Scully had moved back into his home. Right, okay. In fact, during one of their strange cases involving doppelgangers, they'd actually slept together. I should say again, because they slept together before that. Yeah. Hang on a minute. They ended up sleeping with each other again, not together again. Oh, fuck. Hang on. She'd been done with chasing monsters in the dark way before he had, anyway. She'd been done. That doesn't sound on me. Okay, I've altered that. I know she said she was done with chasing monsters in the dark in I Want to Believe, but that didn't sound right in the sentence. So she'd lost interest in chasing monsters in the dark way before he had. So he'd finally made... So he'd what? Hang on a minute, I've typed that wrong. So finally he made the move and left the X-Files and his work as an agent behind forever. I've said the X-Files 3 times. Do I honestly need to keep repeating it? We know it's the X-Files. No. I don't need the X-Files. He left his work behind, so hang on. We know it's the X-Files. Fans know what I'm writing about. Right, hang on. Okay, this is where we get hot and heavy. It's not my style, but I did it for the Mulder Scully romance fans. Right, okay. To be absolutely honest, he'd been pretty damn nervous, but so relieved when she'd said yes, after being pleasantly shocked by his She stirred from her slumber and immediately felt his gaze upon her. That should be, not on her. Hang on. I've not read this yet. Hang on a bit. Oh, God. Right, okay. I wrote this, yes, okay, right. Right now it felt like a little piece of heaven, a beautiful romantic paradise just for the two of them. Oh boy, I'm rubbing it in. I'm really rubbing it in for the Mulder Scully romance fans. Right, okay. Mulder groaned softly into her mouth, tongue intertwining with hers, as he pulled her into a strong embrace. Feeling a stirring deep within his loins, he knew he was ready to take this woman to the highest sexual peak of ecstasy she would ever experience in her goddamn life. Well, that was the idea anyway. I'm going to say that again. That didn't sound... I don't even like speaking this, never mind writing it. Right, hang on. God, I've got to read this out again, yeah. Okay, well, that was the idea at any rate, until the baby monitor on the... Oh, yeah, I've got it. Sorry, Mulder Scully romance fans. I interrupt that moment. Ha! Had I read that right? God knows. Okay, I'll go from... I'm not reading that bloody Mulder sex bit again. Right, hang on. Watching her leave the room to attend to their baby girl, he was surprised to feel a sudden sense of loss. Yeah, sorry. This is where I get back to how I like writing stories, right? You're being a bloody idiot, Mulder, he told himself harshly. I mean, let's face it, he had everything he could ever wish to... And what? I mean, let's face it, he had everything he could... So why on earth was he having conflicting memories of 2 different events? Only one could be the correct one, right? Not if you're following the quantum theory, quantum rules. The other incident, the one where he'd seen his son murdered, shot in the head by the smoking man, dear Dad. That's not a question, is it? It is his dad, so hang on. Dear Dad. The bastard. Right, okay. Searching for the page labelled W, he traced his finger down it and found the name, William Mulder, the surname having been crossed out with one large black pencil line. No, don't say it as if it isn't here. Right, hang on a minute. Sorry, do that again. I'll do that again. Without pondering on that, he grabbed his cell phone. Can't say it right now. Hello? No. Sorry, Will, Mulder said, still perplexed. No, that's not right. Because I'm going to go from the dialogue again, because otherwise I read it wrong. Right, hang on a minute. Got to get it right for the podcast. Right. At first, Mulder thought the boy had decided to hang up because the man he'd been talking to had lost his marbles. He certainly wasn't expecting to hear the next words that came out of his mouth. So, I got the job. I'm now a fully fledged FBI agent like you used to be. Sorry, you're a what? He couldn't hide the astonishment in his own voice, as he had certainly not been expecting. I've already said... Oh, shit, I've said that twice. I can't say that twice. Hang on a minute. Seriously, like to complicate sentences. Right, hang on. I've cut a load of words out there, so... As he concentrated on the moment which was supposed to have been the happiest time of his life, he pictured a scene... Yeah, he can't remember it. Yeah, you really are supposed to remember your own wedding, Mulder. He was dancing with Scully in his arms while a band played Italian composer Carmen Lombardo's beautifully haunting song, Return to Me. Oh, I had to put that in because that was my wedding dance. That was my wedding dance. Pete and I danced to Return to Me when we got married, so I've put that in my X-Files story. She was in a low-cut silver sequin gown which sparkled. Sorry. He was dressed in black tuxedo and bow tie, with a white carnation in the top buttonhole of the jacket. I've just got rid of the bow tie. It's from a grand piano, two of whom were his son William, who I can't spell the name of, and oh no, I have spelled. Sorry, I spelled it wrong. Two of whom were his son William, also in the same coloured tux, and his girlfriend, who was in. Right, hang on. And his girlfriend, who was in a knee-length. Can't say it, can I? And his girlfriend, who was in a knee-length pale blue satin dress. Hey, Dad, he heard a voice say. Yeah, because Mulder's gone off in a dream world. Hang on a minute. Mulder put down the... I'll say that again. Yeah, Mulder's in a dream world, so I'm going to admit... Well, yeah, he is, but in more ways than one. He's definitely gone over the rainbow. Right, hang on a minute. Deep Throat, who we later came to know as Ronald Pakula. Fuck knows I used to pronounce that because it was on a gravestone in the X-Files. You know, they never said the name. Deep Throat, who he later came to know as Ronald Pakula. I don't know. Pakula? I don't know how you say it. I'm obviously going to say it wrong, and then the fans will all go, that's not how you say it. Hang on. He pictured her wearing a long black lacy nightgown in a dim-lit bedroom as he took her into his arms after she unlocked what? He'd been strapped to a table in the shape of a cross where men had been operating on him for some reason. Mulder tried to think about about the reason. That's reason twice. I hate saying things twice. Mulder tried to think about why would his life now become this perfect, idealistic, magical existence filled with total harmony? I've said harmony twice. Shit. When the aliens had decided to return him in a very sorry state indeed. How come after his miraculous... What? How come after his miraculous... I can't say miraculous, can I? How come after his miraculous God, it's hard to say this. From that moment he was lost again. In her eyes, her scent, her taste, everything about her proved right there and then that she was beyond a shadow of a doubt as real as the morning sun now shining in through the window of his bedroom. Yeah, we're back to Mulder Scully romance again. Chapter 8, Parallel Fates. Not everything dies, Mr. Mulder. Whirring of cogs as human bodies were transported in pods along conveyor belts. Bodies infected with the virus, allowing I've said bodies twice, but I think that's okay. Because I said human bodies. Yeah, stuff it. Right, hang on. Smashing open the encasement, he had to free her. Only now those lips were warm and inviting. Here we go again. I'm giving the Mulder Scully romance another taste of hot, passionate stuff before I, take it all away. Right, these were spoken by an ally, a female informant, Marita Karuvaruba. I can't say her name. Oh, great. I can never say a frigging name on X-Files. These were spoken by an ally and a female informant, Marita God, how the hell do you say it? They can say it on the show, but Covarubrius. Marita Covarubrius. I think that's it. Marita Covarubrius. I've said it right. Yes. Yes, because I was watching the episode. No, these had been spoken by an ally, wandering around the facility in a hospital gown like a zombie. Hair the sorry. And I also got it wrong because I thought Krychek said, like, I feel like a new man. Watch the X-File episode again. No, Mulder said, feel better, any better or something. And he said, like a new man. I thought, oh Christ, I've got to get it right, or the fans will know I've made a mistake. So, right. Oh, it was cool to watch the X-Files episodes again. I thought, well, it's for research purposes. Right, okay. Any excuse. Right, oh, and then I added in Mulder's line. I didn't do, because I was watching the episode, I'd forgotten Mulder yells out in the van, you can't bury the truth. So I put that in my story. And then added more to my stories. And this section of my story came about because I'd watched the episode. I'd rewatched the episode. So sweat poured from their glistening bodies, both panting loudly. Only Scully's felt so incredibly hot to the touch. No, wait. She was glowing. A brilliant, iridescent light was emanating from her torso, surrounding them both. White hot. Jeez, he was on fire! Yeah. Enjoy that one, Mulder Scully romance fans. White hot. Jeez, he was on fire! But not in the way you think he is. Sorry. This is all in his mind, remember? And now the fans think I'm still continuing the sex scene, and I'm not. Right, his cheeks still being stretched by those metal clamps. There's an L in there, dear. Right. His cheeks still being scratched. Hang on. No, I realise I don't have to say the metal bars were forced through his limbs again, because I'd said that earlier on in the story. So right, okay. So hang on. Yeah, I always shuddered when X-Files did that. Scully awoke with a start and jolted upright, gasping for air. Realising she was in her own bed at home in Georgetown, she let out a sigh of relief. Although still shaken from the frightening vision she'd observed, at least it had only been a dream. Or had it? No, sorry, I didn't say that. I didn't say that in my story. Hang on a minute. Okay, now I'm getting into the quantum stuff that I love writing about. Right, hang on a minute. Time. Oh, sorry. Time. Hang on a minute. Time. How is it defined exactly? The progression of events from the past into the future. Meaning. I can't speak. Right, hang on. Hidden behind an invisible force field of energy, where memories of your future self become imaginations of your present self, and vice versa. I hope to God fans are going to be able to understand this. Hang on. Lost within memories of his own making. Lost Within, that was my first X-Files story that David ever wrote. No, he didn't write it, I wrote it. My first X-Files story that David ever read, but I put Lost Within without thinking when I was writing the sentence. Yeah. Which then quickly became intense heat flowing into his veins, He became conscious of the palm of a hand being pressed firmly against his forehead. Sorry, can't say. Right. Bringing him back. Welcome back, Mr. Mulder. Yeah, he's pleased, isn't he? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in my story, he's thrilled. The process has been a success. Right. Then he felt the pressure in his face ease as one of the other women. Nope. What? He managed to utter. No, I can't do this right, can I? Why, Mr. Mulder, I just brought you back from a non-existent stasis. What the fuck is one of them? I don't know. I just made it up. That's my word. I've made it up. Because in the X-Files they never flame and explain what it was, that he wasn't dead, but he was declared dead by medical terms, but he wasn't actually, he wasn't actually dead because they brought him back. He was dead in human terms, but not, yeah. So I thought, well, what am I going to call it? I'm going to call it something. So I decided on a non-existent stasis, because that's the way I have the aliens describe it. Because he's not alive anymore, but yet he is. So I called it a non-existent stasis. It's as good as any word I could come up with. You really are being most ungrateful, it said in a belittling ungrateful, he said, completely shocked. Oh, he says it, sorry. I'd forgotten you said it. Right, he tried to give the strange phase some kind of phrase, not phase. Yeah, the phrase I've just invented. Right, hang on. Mulder hadn't registered anything but pain, heat even. Hang on. His very eyes. Oh my God. Hang on, sorry. Ungrateful, he said, completely shocked, and lost his page. Hang on a minute. Right. When his think stopped. Yeah, because, oh shit, I'm dead. Oh shit, he looked like something right out of George A. Moran. I can't see his name. Mr. Mulder, you have, Mr. Mulder, hang on a minute. Who the hell was he kidding? He was far from feeling bloody comfortable. Oh, he's crying there. So hang on a minute. Gonna make it dramatic. Hang on a minute. Yeah, that sounds okay. It's just, it took me ages to rewrite that. Right. Complete turnaround. God, I knew I'd rewrite this as I read it. Right, hang on. So this is all a damn lie, you motherfucker! He shouted. We've got to get motherfucker in, because it's David's favourite saying. Yeah, we've never heard Mulder say that, but Hank has. I don't need to read that out again for the podcast. Right, okay. The alien waved his arm around. I better say that so they understand what I've said, right, because that might not come out right. Mr. Mulder, let me try putting it in such a way that you might understand. No, hang on, no, he didn't say that. His whole body was beginning to feel like one raw nerve ending, making it even harder to concentrate. Then, without any warning, sorry. His whole body was beginning to feel like one raw nerve ending. God, please, say it right. His words trailed off as pleasant memories formed. Lying in bed, making love to her, saying I do at the... Sorry, that doesn't sound right. Saying I do at the altar. Everything... No, he screamed. I am here, in your fucking spaceship. You tortured me to death and now are mentally tormenting the fuck out of me with this crap. He couldn't hold back any longer. If you won't leave... Oh, fucking hell, I was doing well there. You tortured me to death, and now I'm sorry, I need to shoot him. Okay, try it. If you won't let me leave this hell, then for fuck's sake, please just kill me. But don't you dare even think about bringing me back. Oh, sorry. But don't you dare even think about bringing me back next time, you bastard. Okay, there's an exclamation mark after kill me. So I'll just read that a little bit again. Okay. Hang on. He really couldn't take any more of this shit. However, he was so exhausted now. Oh, right. No, he's exhausted, so hang on a minute. Look, whoever the hell I am, just fucking kill me. He was spent, utterly exhausted, and felt he had nothing left. Oh, sorry, he's spent completely, so hang on. I've got to say it as if he's spent. Right, hang on. Knowing it wasn't going to fulfill his wish, Mulder closed his eyes, no, hang on a minute. Sorry, I just saw a mistake in the punctuation. I'm good at making mistakes in the punctuation. Right, hang on. Hush, Mr. Mulder. He felt the creature's hand stroke. No, he didn't. And finally, my epilogue, which I'll probably end up changing, but hang on. Right, home sweet home, no place like home. Who's damn home? He said, losing his fucking page. Oh, hang on. No, I've gone back to that. Yeah, I mean, I was only out the room for, 5 minutes? It didn't take long to get us. Oh, shit, I said that wrong. I'm going to read that again. Hang on. For the podcast, right. Honey, did you hear me? Scully's voice sounded frustrated. He knew if she didn't get an answer, she'd be pissed. Then he'd probably get no eggs. Hang on, sorry, read that again. Scully's voice sounded frustrated. Guess I got the happy ending, he sighed contentedly. I'm just going to read that again for the podcast. The end. Note, so, which Mulder remains in the nightmare on the spaceship and which one lives happily ever after? I'll let you decide, dear reader. Just remember the rules of the Oh, not reader, sorry, this is a podcast, it's listener. Okay, read that again, okay. Just remember the rules of the quantum world. Everything is a probability until it's observed and brought into our reality. Therefore, the conclusion is whatever you perceive as reality. Wink. I hope you enjoyed my X-Files story. I forgot what it was called. I forgot the name of my own story. Apokalypsis. And then the theme. And then the end. Finished! Well, there you go. That lightened the dark story there, didn't it? Thought I'd give you a bit of light relief after such an intense story. It really is wonderful to see the response I've got for this final delve into the X-Files, which has been an awesome lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, but I really am X-filed out. I just can't think of any other way. I'm happy with where I've left it. So sorry, but I am not writing anymore. I think that was my ultimate one, which hopefully pleased most fans, because I did try and take it in a certain way that I don't want to give too much away in case people haven't read it or heard it, but yeah, I was trying to not wrap it up, but trying to please all types of files, and I hope I succeeded. People do seem to be enjoying it, so I'm really, really pleased about that. And thank you, everyone who have gone out their way to listen to this or to read the story. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. I just want to add, yeah, I am a big fan, but I've not seen some of these episodes. I specifically had to watch certain ones to try and get the information right. But if I've made any mistakes, just think of it as another parallel universe. I know one fan did message me and said I'd made a mistake in the relationship between Mulder and Scully. Well, I apologise for that, but just think of it as my story, not Chris Carter's, not anybody else's. And after all, the comic books, they did their own thing, and Chris approved of it. So, you know, if I've made mistakes and it's upset any fans, sorry about that. But just think of it as, because the whole point, the story is all about parallel universes. So you can, in that way, I was getting around it, I thought. But anyway, yeah. So thank you for the feedback I've been getting. It's been really appreciated. Thank you so much. Glad you've enjoyed my audiobooks. And that's it. So I'll end with a theme. Okay, bye.